From the BBC World Service, in association with ABC and Akashvani, this is Stumped.
Hello and welcome to Stumped, your intercontinental hit of news, features and debate from the quirky world of cricket. I'm Eleanor Oldroyd, stepping in for Alison Mitchell. I'm in London, where I woke up this morning with the choice of 3 cricket matches to watch if I had enough screens. India getting their test series against England underway in Hyderabad. India in action against Ireland in the Under-19s World Cup. And the first day of Australia against the West Indies in Brisbane, which is where you are, Jim.
I am, and it's been a very competitive day with the pink ball, with a collapse and then a recovery by the West Indies. They've shown tremendous fight today, and a record crowd for the first day of an Australia-West Indies test in Brisbane has been part of all that. So we've had a lot of fans watching cricket in the last 2 days in Sydney in the final of the Big Bash, and now here in Brisbane. So things are looking up for test cricket.
And I'm Sunil Gupta for Akashvani in Delhi. And you stole my thunder when you talked about all those cricket matches in which the Indian team features in 2 of them. But there was one other thing that I watched in the melange of opportunities one had today, and that was the Australian Open. And we saw a couple of very, very good matches, the women's matches. And may sport continue to thrive down under and up on top.
Well, it's a multi-screening Stumped coming to you today. We will hear from one of the stars of the India Under-19 team a little bit later in the programme. And we'll also be reacting to the climax of the Big Bash competition in Australia, which Jim just mentioned, Brisbane Heat claiming their 2nd title. But first, an absolutely fascinating start to the India-England series. So many questions about whether Virat Kohli would be missed. We'll come to that shortly. But Yashasvi Jaiswal starred with the bat as an opener after India's spinners had bowled them into a strong position. England relying on the batting of captain Ben Stokes, as they have so often in the past. But Sunil, first of all, tell us a little bit about the Jaiswal story. I mean, he looked completely fearless up at the top of the innings for India.
Yes, he's been quite a revelation. He's been playing the IPL for quite a few years, but as I was saying, he comes from a very, very difficult background in childhood. Once again, his parents really couldn't afford to provide the money for cricket, so he made his way all the way to Mumbai, and he actually lived in the groundsman's tent where he used to practice, and he used to sell Indian snacks on the road. I mean, that was what he was doing. And then there was a coach who spotted him playing on one of the maidans there, one of the grounds, and then took him under his wing and gave him a spot in his academy. And he hasn't looked back since. So, this is the type of background we must appreciate. Quite a few of the Indian cricketers come from, going back many years, and in fact, even today. And you must appreciate their tenacity, because remember, Ellie, there are so many cricket players in India, so many. I mean, you could add up all the populations of all the cricket-playing countries, and you'll still find more cricket players. To make it to the top in such a tight field, I think, is really worthy of praise. It's an immense background story.
It is an extraordinary thing to think about, Jim, isn't it, when you hear Sunil talking like that? Actually, the chance to achieve the riches, the acclaim that you get in Indian cricket, if you can come through, but you've got to work hard, goodness me, to get to that point.
Yes, you do. And we've seen an interesting situation in the last 2 weeks here with Shamar Joseph, with his extraordinary debut in Adelaide, taking a wicket with his first ball, making 36, 5 wickets in the innings. And he has come from a very poor circumstance, Barakara, in a remote part of Guyana. And today we had another debutant from Guyana who's had an equally uninspiring, very poverty-stricken rise to international cricket. And he came out and batted like a fellow who'd been here for quite some time. He's an off-spin bowler. So we're getting these good stories around people we don't expect to see. And this theme will continue when we get to the Big Bash too. But it's wonderful. It's refreshing to see in any cricket environment someone come from an awkward, as I say, impoverished background and rise to this level. And in each case, as far as this is concerned in Australia, to play with such confidence. Young people are just so confident. It really does make you wonder how does this all come about? But that's what we've got, and it's wonderful.
We haven't mentioned Virat Kohli yet. I said we'd mention him at the top. I mean, Sunil, it was a bit of a shock, wasn't it, when he pulled out of the first two tests of this series. And he is still of such high value to the Indian team when it comes not only to his runs, but also to his leadership and to the draw that he still is for that Indian crowd.
Yeah, it's not the first time he's done it. He went back from South Africa and didn't play the practice game. He came back, when he was going to have his first baby from the previous Australian tour. So it's not the first time he's done it. And one must respect, why he's doing it. He would hate to miss the test matches, let me tell you. Absolutely. It's not something that he wants to be on that cricket field. So it must be something serious and something absolutely necessary. And I think we need to be able to give him that, sort of width or that allowance. But I always look at this, as I've said before, and I'll say again, as an opportunity for somebody else within the team. He's not going to be there forever. You have Shreyas Iyer, who hasn't really, to my mind, lit up the aisles, so far. He has an opportunity playing at home to be able to redress that. And of course, you've got people like Jaiswal and all that as well. So I think everybody gets a chance. In fact, Bharat, he is a very, very good wicketkeeper, but his batting has not been really, what it should have been. But he's worked on it. He played very well against the England Lions here when India were chasing 490 on the last day and helped them draw that particular game. So I think everybody gets an opportunity. The problem will be that if they all do well, right, who do they take out when Kohli comes back into the team for the third test match? That's going to be the conundrum at that point of time, but it's a good one then. So I think we need to give him his space, and he wouldn't do it unless it was absolutely critical or necessary.
And very interesting to see the respect as well from the players as well, that, Ben Stokes talking about his decision very respectfully and appreciating the time sometimes that you have to take time away from the game. And also, I think, reflected back with Rohit Sharma talking about Harry Brook, who also is missing certainly for the early stages of this series, Jim. But I think, apart from that, Virat Kohli, do we just need to appreciate him while we've still got him?
Oh, yes, definitely. And he'll be playing at some point. It also, to an extent, underlines the depth that India have. As we saw some years ago when Kohli went home before the series was concluded. And in fact, with Rahane in charge, India won. So, I think that, unlike some of the lesser teams playing Test cricket, as it were, it's not as if great players are irreplaceable. And Australia has a sort of similar situation, I would hope, with the batting around this team. So India are in a very, very strong position. I'm sure that the fans are looking forward to Kohli coming back, but at the moment they seem to be making a stride or two without him.
Well, next on Stumped, let's head to Australia, where it was a grandstand finish to the Big Bash this week, with Brisbane Heat clinching their first title in 11 years after beating Sydney Sixers by 54 runs in the final. Well, the victory for Brisbane will taste even sweeter, especially after they agonisingly lost in the final last year. It was played in front of a record crowd at the SCG. Jim, you are in Brisbane. Are there celebrating Queenslanders all around you?
Well, as I say, there seem to be. There's been a record crowd here today, over 23,000, which, although this ground holds a lot more than that, is pretty good, given that I would have thought most of the Heat Brisbane fans would have had a hangover this morning, staying up to watch that finish. A great performance. And one of the good things about the BBL is that every now and then someone turns up totally unexpected. And when you remember that they had Munro and Billings doing the bulk of the heavy work with the bat, and then they went off to another tournament called away, and this fella Josh Brown coming out of club cricket. He's a lump of a lad. He's a beautiful, clean striker of the ball. He scored 140 or 57 balls the other day, and then he backed it up with a half century in the final. So he's been a huge find, and he's finding himself all of a sudden getting all sorts of offers to play in T20 franchises. So they're the kind of pluses that can come out of a tournament like this, and plus the fact the shortened competition seemed to work. There were more people turning up to watch at every game. You mentioned the record crowd at the SCG. The one surprise to me about that game was that the Sixers decided to bowl and not bat, because we all know the SCG pitch is a bit up and down these days, and runs on the board, I would have thought, particularly in tense games of cricket, can be vital. But it didn't go their way, and they were blindingly outplayed with the bat and then with the ball. Swepson and Kuhnemann bowling their spin, and this young fellow Spencer Johnson, who can bowl rapidly, plus Neese's bowling and fielding, and there it was. It was a huge performance by the Heat in the big game.
Well, finally on Stumped, the rising stars of the cricketing world are in South Africa for the Under-19s World Cup. The 15th edition of the tournament will showcase 41 matches involving 16 nations. Well, the defending champions India have been the most successful side in the tournament, with 5 titles to their name. The boys in blue began their campaign with a comprehensive victory thanks to their vice-captain Soumya Pandey, who starred with the ball, picking up 4 wickets. And earlier this week, Sunil, you had the opportunity to speak to the vice-captain.
Yes, I caught up with Soumya Pandey, and he began telling me what it means to be representing India on the global stage. Once again, his background, and of course the fact that he picked up that match-winning haul of 4 for 24 against Bangladesh, though India had just put up about 250 odd. And a very mature young man. I mean, he talked about, what he had done previously, what they were hoping to do, the way the team gathers together. Remember, there are team members, young team members from all over India, speaking different languages. And, you have to put those elements into the mix. It's not everybody speaking English or, it's one language. So I think to be able to then combine with these, but then he's been playing cricket, ever since the under-14s, under-16s, he's been vice-captaining or captaining the team. So he brought all that into the interview.
It's a new chapter in my life, to representing myself in such a big stage like World Cup for India. So it was very exciting and very good for me.
Tell me, there are so many talented cricketers in India, even in your academies. I was reading in Madhya Pradesh and everywhere else we read there are thousands of cricketers playing. Only a few make it to the top, the under-19 team, the under-16 team, the under-23s, and of course the international team. Tell us a little bit about your journey to making it to the vice-captain of the under-19 World Cup team.
Recently, I was the captain of Madhya Pradesh under-19 for past 2 years. So, and when I start my journey, I was the captain of under-14 River Division. I'm representing River Division. So, when I start my journey, I was from the start, I was the captain of the sides or vice captain of the side. Yeah,
that's great. So, tell me, what is the difference between captaincy and being just a member of the team or vice captain?
I think it's just adding of responsibility, or as a leader means you guide or you represent yourself as a leader. It is a very good, I think, responsibility for, and also for self-improvement. It is also very good for self-improvement as you grow as a very good character. You evolve your character. So it helps in these ways.
Now, you know that, of course, in 2022, India won the Under-19 World Cup, and that was in the West Indies. But before that, in the two previous years, two previous occasions, India lost to Bangladesh and India lost to the West Indies. Even though they were the favourites, India got to the finals. So how difficult do you think it is to keep that winning streak? So you won in 22, now to win in 24. How tough is it?
No, we are not thinking about too far. We are just taking one match at a time, because this team is quite good, and the mindset of the boys is very clear that they're taking one match at a time, not thinking about too much. And in past, we also in 2020, we lost in finals. So it's just a bad game.
Yes, I watched both the games, I must tell you. Yes, and it's always difficult to lose when you're the favourites, you're in the finals. So there are some lessons that you learn. Now tell us
Yeah.
about that first game against Bangladesh. Now, Bangladesh put up a decent score. I mean, you put up a decent score, but there were difficulties. Maroof took 5 wickets, and at one time you were 30 for 2. So how did you pull yourself back, and how did you perform? How did you think of your own performance in that game?
I'm not thinking about my own performance because it's just a team game. So I always think that what I do my best for the team and for my country. And yeah, everyone in the squad believes that we bounce back from any situation because we are good enough and we prepared very well in every situations. And the credit goes to the management because how they communicate with us, how they arrange practice, how they help us.
The first win in a tournament is always special, isn't it? To have that first win against a team like Bangladesh.
Yeah, because it set the tone for whole the tournament. In such a big stage, it's always good for starting in winning note, and the for winning also we required to just not focus on the result, on our process, what we do. Simple.
Now tell me, there's a new format for this World Cup. You have 4 teams, 4 groups, and you have 4 teams in each group. And then the 3 go to the Super 6 from each group, and then you play teams from the other group, and then you get to the semi-finals and final. So that's a different format from before. How do you think about this? Do you think that it is effective? Would you prefer a slightly different format? Have you all talked about this at all?
I'm also excited because it's new for me, and it's always great to introducing new formats or new thing in cricket to evolve it.
That's very true. Now, tell me, is there any particular team that I wouldn't say that you're afraid of, but that you would like to
No,
avoid in the initial stages?
no, I don't think so because we are here to play with any team, and we are prepared so well. Recently, we had a good try series against South Africa, which is very good side, but we beat them in twice in the league stages. So we are very confident about that we are playing in any team.
So tell me, what would it mean to you personally, Somi, that if you win that World Cup and hold that trophy aloft?
Personally, it is a great feeling because we are all here to win the trophy, and we are preparing from past 6 months or past some of preparing from past 2 years for this tournament. Always a great feeling and also glory for us because we defend our title.
Now tell me, you're often described, I believe, as the junior Jadeja. First of all, why did you get that name?
Because I have a similar action just like Jadeja, and it's my natural. So I think that people give me that name.
Because then you'd really be the senior Jadeja, not just the junior Jadeja. Okay. Also, tell me now, there are other players from your team like Aravelli, Avinash, who've been picked by the Chennai Super Kings in the new auction for the IPL. How encouraging is it for you and your other team members to see youngsters being picked? And what is your hope for the future in this particular regard?
At this age, it was always a good feeling that our teammates are picked in IPL, such a big tournament and such a big franchise like CSK. Also a pride, and also we hope that in future we are also there.
Well, I wish you all the very best. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you so much.
Well, that was Somi Pandey, the vice captain of the India under-19s team. It is interesting, isn't it, when you listen to somebody who is clearly as mature as he is, Sunil, and at such a young age, you've got a lot of expectation on your shoulders at every stage in the Indian age group process.
Yes, especially the fact that India are the defending champions. And therefore, that does weigh on you. But he was very, very down to earth about this. He said, there's no pressure. We play as a team, and we appreciate the type of opportunities that are given to us. And his parents both are school teachers. Maybe a little bit of that comes from that as well. That sort of background. But the way he talked, he was very very calm, down to earth, and I think the main thing was we need to win this title again and keep our record going. We've won it 5 times, and we're the defending champions. That's very much on our minds.
Well, we'll continue to follow the Under-19s World Cup. There is a Super 6 stage which starts on the 30th of January, so some way to go yet. But that is it for this week's Stumped. Thank you to Jim Maxwell and to Sunil Gupta. Join us again next time.